Today I'm going to share 3 life lessons that I learned the hard way. Let me take you back to 3rd April 2016. I was sitting on the last bench in my class giving my JEE mains exam and I was sweating. I was sweating like crazy. So the fan was just above me, still I was sweating. The main reason was that while writing my JEE roll number, I filled it wrong by mistake. So my JEE roll number was 679, as last 3 digits of my JEE roll number was 6, 7 and 9, and I filled 6, 7 and 8 by mistake. And when I realized my mistake, I filled 9 as well. So there was one single row in which I had filled 2 circles, and that was a big mistake. Because the only way to identify your JEE paper is through your roll number, and in my case, it was wrong. So there's no name on your JEE roll number, on your JEE paper. There is no contact information. There is just your roll number, and in my case, that was wrong. When I realized that, I was damn nervous. I was very worried, and then I called invigilator ma'am. That ma'am, मैंने गलती से अपना roll number ही गलत भर दिया है, right? And I still remember that time. The invigilator looked at me and she shouted. She said, "बेटा ये क्या कर दिया तुमने? तुम्हारा तो roll number ही गलत है." And I was on the last bench and everyone was looking at me. And all those negative thoughts were going inside my brain that I've spent 4 years for this exam. 10th, 11th, 12th and one drop year. I literally dropped an year for this exam. And on the main day, I messed it up. Right? I've spent lakhs of rupees on my coaching center. And this is what I've done. My parents, my teachers had so much expectation from me. And I messed up the whole exam, which would have given me admission to so many government colleges, right? And at that time, I had 2 options. Either I could cry about it and leave the exam hall, or I could write the exam and hope for the best. And I chose the second option. I took a deep breath, calmed my nerves down, and just started writing the exam. I started with chemistry because I thought chemistry is a theoretical subject, right? Either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. For physics and math, you have to calculate. And at that time, so many things were going on in my brain. I thought chemistry is the best option. So I started with chemistry. And I still remember I spent like 10 minutes on the first question. So many thoughts were going on. I couldn't have a clarification. But somehow I finished that exam, right? And I just came back home. And the next few months were so depressing. I was really very worried that what's going to happen. I've spent so many years preparing for this exam. And if my result doesn't come, I was just feeling like a failure, right? And then after like 3-4 months, I was still giving other private exams, but after 3-4 months, I don't know how. I literally don't know how, but I got my result. And I took admission in NSIT in 2016. Although the result was not that great because of the whole situation, but I was just happy that at least I got a result right. And I took admission in NSIT in instrumentation and control engineering. And that day, I learned one thing, and this was my first life lesson, that it's not over when you lose, it's over when you quit. Right? That day I could have just given up कि यार invigilator ने बोल दिया, CBSE invigilator थी वो, उन्होंने बोल दिया कि भाई तुम्हारा एग्जाम रिजेक्ट होने वाला है, एंड मैंने भी गलती कर दी थी, तो मेरे को बहुत लग रहा था कि तो हो ही जाएगा रिजेक्ट, बट आई डिडंट गिव अप. आई थॉट कि एटलीस्ट 1% चांस भी हुआ कि मेरा पेपर सिलेक्ट हो जाए, तो एटलीस्ट आई हैव समथिंग, आई हैव अ रिजल्ट, आई हैव एटलीस्ट एन आंसर, राइट? So I think this is very true. So there might be a possibility that some of you are going through a hard time. तुम्हें लग रहा है कि this thing won't happen, whatever you are doing, right? You might be going through a tough time, but my message or my advice to you will be to never give up. Sometimes consistency and the power to sustain can take you out of situations, tough situations, right? And then this was my first life lesson. Now next few years were kind of relaxing. I was having fun. These are my friends, and I was just having fun in my college life. Uh, but until third year. So third year is like the placement season. So in engineering college, initially in like 3-4 months, all the good companies come, and then basically the startups and small companies come, right? And I was aiming for these three companies: McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. These are the world's top consulting firm. So I prepared really hard. I made a good resume and applied to these companies. They were coming for the placements, and I couldn't get into a single one, right? When I first gave my resume, all these companies rejected my resume. And I still remember all my friends were getting jobs in good colleges, good companies, right? And I was there without a job, just going to interview every day and just getting rejected. 7-8 months passed by. All my friends were placed. They were planning for Goa, कि Goa चलते हैं, and I was just sitting and just hoping that किसी एक company में मेरा admission हो जाए, as in job मिल जाए. Finally, I got a job in a startup called iFinance, and I was working there as a graduate trainee. And over there, I learned lot of skills. I learned how to uh, Excel, how to use Tableau, MIS reports, all that stuff, right? And in 6 months, I applied again to Bain, and this time I got in, right? And thank you. And that's when I learned that the path to success is never a straight line. It's something like this. It goes like घूम फिर के, and then you reach success, right? And this was my second life lesson, that the path to success is not a straight line but a journey through waves and tides. अगर मैं सोचता कि यार मेरे को तो सीधा बेन में जाना है, मैं और कंपनीज में क्यों जाऊं, वहां पे क्यों जॉब लूं, राइट? तो शायद वो कभी बेन भी नहीं हो पाता, क्योंकि मेरे को जो स्किल्स अपने स्टार्टअप में मिले उसकी वजह से ही मैं बेन में जा पाया. सिमिलरली यू गाइज मस्ट बी फीलिंग स्टक कि अभी तुम्हें जो चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रहा है. But whatever you're getting, right, whatever opportunity you're getting, just work on that. You never know where that will take you, right? Once you look back, you can connect the dots, but initially समझ नहीं आता है. Then next few years, I was working in Bain. I was working with the biggest companies in world, actually, in India as well as in world, and I was just having a good time. I was in the dream job. I was getting high salary. I was working with the biggest clients in the world. And then my friends started and my relatives started asking me, how can they also crack these consulting firms, right? And then I started my YouTube channel with my name only, Hrithik Mehlawat, and started uploading videos, how you can also become a business analyst, how you can crack these consulting firms. And 4 years later, I became India's biggest business analyst channel. I have 2.1 million plus views on my business analyst playlist. Thank you. I've been to many colleges. I've given seminars, workshops, right? This is me giving a seminar on guesstimates in Christ University. And recently, I've launched my own company, Business Analyst Club. And we are India's biggest business analyst community. And there's thousands of students where we are guiding them how they can also join these consulting firms, how they can also become a business analyst. And here I am today giving my first TED talk, right? So much has happened. And this was my third life lesson, that a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there, right? So I was working in a dream job. I was having a good salary, but my ambitions were were greater than that. I wanted to help people. I wanted that all logo ka bhi ho jaye. If I'm doing this job, I want other people also to do it, right? And this was my third life lesson, and I want to end the TED talk with these three life lessons: that it's not over when you lose, it's over when you quit. The path to success is not a straight line, it's but a journey through waves and tides. And a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.